App Talks. We're talking about apps, but this time, and you can't see it, but this is too cool because we have an audience as well. I wasn't thinking it was going to happen. They're here for you, Pan, right?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure everybody heard now that you're doing this here in this the secret room of the conference.
Exactly. Our own room, our own place. It's so Bond-esque back here, isn't it? But no secret about Remerge. I followed you probably since day one. In fact, I remember going to your founding party where you were showing off, I think, your awesome floor and your coffee machine. So we go back a while. Yeah. What a company. Those were the interesting startup days. But I know you. Not everyone does. So Pan, why don't we just start off with Remerge, your description of it, because it's evolved. It's so much more than only retargeting at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think what you're referring to, it's exactly 10 years ago. So 10? It's our 10-year anniversary.
Then
like
I've known
big
you for
party.
10 years.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also like 10th time we are here at this conference because it was the very first conference we attended. I said already, like back then we just entered the market with a new approach in marketing and app marketing specifically with the retargeting, remarketing topic. And since then, I think like the whole industry, the whole market evolved. It's still like one of our core areas where we are, I think, like doing pretty well. But obviously, like all other needs, left and right around that, with giving transparency, measurement, but also other growth initiatives. That's what we are looking into. And obviously, with the evolving privacy space, like keeping up with the industry, discussing together with Apple, with Google, like what they're planning, and they just like coordinate the industry with it, so that everything runs smooth, that everybody can do like good marketing campaigns. Yeah.
But you're not just working on, I think you're actually shaping that. You're working very closely testing in privacy. Tell me a little bit about that, because I think that's important to know that you're seeing it also from the inside out. And also marketers and people in the room, I mean, they can be actively looking again at retargeting because at least for Privacy Sandbox, for Android Privacy Sandbox, we have APIs, we have experimentation. We can do retargeting, audience retargeting. You're probably looking at that, shaping that, tinkering with it. What are some of the interesting aspects or surprises about that make this usable, actionable for marketers in the audience?
Yeah, I think like the idea of the sandbox or the general approach is actually pretty simple, because you try to just do retargeting without like a technical identifier that you have right now. And how can you do this? And I think like when you abstract that, and also what we've always been doing and what we want to do is actually to target audiences, right? So you have like a group of users, of customers you want to target because they fit in the funnel and so on. And for that, you don't necessarily need like a really super high personalized ID. I just like want to know, is this group of users, I just want to target those. Yeah, so always like an audience segment, and that's already good enough. Now, obviously, that's like kind of the core idea of all of it. And to make that technically working, to just like set audiences, set users inside audiences, and how to be able to address those, that's technically obviously a bit more challenging, but it's doable, right? I think like the whole iterations and what we have done, what works, that has been going pretty well. And ideally, like for all the marketers out there shouldn't be so much of change in their thought process, or like also ideally obviously with the performance, so that everything what we're doing right now that works, that we can transition into the future, and that's also scalable, that's also working well. But obviously, like what we are seeing is also, it's not only us, it's not only Google, it's like everybody in the industry needs also to participate, because obviously we are only doing like this small piece of as a DSP, as like very close to the customers, and our work on that, but you need like everybody in the chain, the MMPs where we're working closely, the SSPs where we're working closely, to just like do the transition very well.
So what's the good news? What are you seeing? So what we're saying is that at a high level you can segment, but granularity is where the excitement is, to have like the valuable user, not just have a valuable user, but retarget and find them. But then you don't want to get everybody. So making those tough choices. Any thoughts on how marketers can approach that, or how even Remerge is making that tough choice, that tough call a little different, a little easier?
Yeah, I mean, also like the reason why we are moving into that privacy space is also driven mainly by the users themselves, right? So I think like when coming from that perspective, it's not always the right approach to fight against what the users want, right? But to create like a good scalable framework for technology, for marketing, so that works. And what I'm always seeing, like, okay, once we have that in place, and once we have like this new technology layer in place, then the topic is kind of gone, right? Because it is privacy friendly. It's exactly like what everybody in the world kind of says.
It is like marketing a lot before.
Yeah.
So really, we've gone through a little bit of a peak and a trough, and we're back to. Yeah. We're out of media, what do they call it now? Marketing mediocrity. We're out of that, and we can go back to the science of this.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think, but you get the best of both worlds, right? So because with the learning what we have right now on a like really very granular level, you take like everything, you abstract exactly the privacy approach and create like a new technology where you can still be like comparably granular, have all the insights depending like on scale, so that at least it's operationable and you can optimize towards it and have like are able to run pretty good campaigns, so that you're not like so blind how it was in the 60s or 70s. But still a little bit better.
What is it like with the cross media, actually? What's Remerge doing in that direction? Because I was just talking to some other marketers and like, we're doing this, but we want to bring people back to where we brought them in the app, or they're looking at the MMM and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Where do you fit in that new thinking around blending models, not just one model, but more blending models? Because you can be at the foundation of all of that, obviously.
Like obviously coming from retargeting, re-engagement is one aspect. As soon as iOS actually, Apple announced with ATT, what we have rolled out right away was a product that gives the transparency with an incrementality approach that you can still boost the campaigns on all Apple, on our iOS inventory, and still get like really good insights about like how did the app perform. I mean, it's not then like a clear retargeting approach, but it's just like more a blend of UA and retargeting together, because you're just like targeting everybody and see if there is a complete lift inside the app, right, in terms of revenue or engagement. That one we rolled out directly when it was there, because we could use our infrastructure that we built for incrementality that we always like run together with retargeting.
Yes, I wouldn't say you jump on these, but you latch onto these changes in the market where marketers are going to say, yes, I need something for that. I need a tool for that, or I need an approach for that. What is it that you think marketers will be needing, or what they would be welcoming next, that maybe even they haven't thought of, in the sense that there's a need for this that you might yourself be addressing at Remerge, but there's something they're lacking. What are they lacking, and how are you looking at that?
For us, like I think one key area is still the ATT rollout. You have a lot of inventory with no ID, and what are the marketing techniques you can use in order to just like get more out of that audience base, where you right now, because you have not so much transparency, are not really tapping into, because you feel insecure, right? Yeah. So we've been building, also I just like said about the incremental impact, it's how it's called, our product, but we are also building on more granular products that where you don't need like this incrementality big budget approach, but can be just like more granular, that taps into this inventory, that you can get more value out of that. So we've been looking at in this part of the inventory, and this is also the reason why we're working so closely now with the Sandbox going forward, because then you will have also the complete inventory will have no ID, so you have to adopt and see, like, can you build like a good techniques, good models that work there?
Internally, because you've done this often at Remerge, you've done research or internal data, and then you come up with handbooks and helps and this and the other to give back to marketers, to address their concerns. What are some of the cool things that you're seeing or are coming out or have come out of Remerge in that respect, where you're saying, yeah, we're giving back?
Yeah, I mean, we have like everything what we collect, what we do with the learnings. Yeah, we try to give back. We have, I think, different papers on the different areas of current challenges. I think like an app retargeting, like a summary paper which goes like through everything what you need to think about, what needs to be done, is a good starting point. But also then more specifically, when we talk about different verticals, have different needs, different setups, different goals. What is our learning? What do we know? I think that's also one of the beauty elements of just like being there so broad and global.
But you bring that up. I mean, that's like the papers and the thought leadership when someone is sort of on board. But if we're honest, we come from a time, both of us, where it was looking kind of dim for everyone in your space. And there's still some naysayers out there. So when I tell people, retargeting is possible, and I go deep into things like the APIs I'm so excited about with Android Privacy Sandbox, for example, that make this all possible again. But if you had to talk about why retargeting, why the renaissance, why now, why marketers should be paying attention to it, what does that sound like? What does this quasi-pitch sound like from you? Because it's going to be built on understanding what marketers can do and what you're enabling. So it's not just saying, oh, do it, it's the pay and spray, it'll work out. It's not.
Yeah.
It's stronger than that.
Yeah. Like I think especially like, I mean, when I compare it 10 years ago, where also nobody knew like how to leverage, how to use retargeting in a good way. I think at the latest, like when everybody looked towards profitability, the shift already happened. And obviously like what you can do, UA, for example, is like more, okay, you're getting more users out of that. With retargeting, you just like get more out of a single user kind of, right? So you just like optimize your funnel, you optimize your profits, so you can just like get more out of it if you can fine tune it. And since like the whole understanding and optimizing and going through that whole flow, it works out pretty well. And obviously, like also with the privacy topic, it's still working out everywhere, like even on iOS, because also when you see even the ID part of it, like we always share those numbers. When I compare before ATT how many IDs we had, it's even nowadays it's already 3 times more. Yeah, so you have like a lot of scale, because just like if you look at, again, like one step back, if you walk around, everybody's using a smartphone, because also after COVID, I've seen my mom that she only does purchases only via her phone, and she's not using like a laptop or so anymore. So like so this whole
when mom does it,
so exactly, you see this behavior that move forward, and that obviously plays into the marketer's suite, how to get like an ad in front of the eyeballs where they are, and be effective and leverage that. So I think that is definitely something that everybody could tap into and make more money with. And obviously, and that's like the point, we can help them if they have no experience, whatever, because we have a lot of case studies, understanding in different areas, okay, like how to approach that in a good way, so that it can be successful with a high probability.
Have a range for that, Pan? Because I remember there was like, there's always a range for something that says you can achieve this or that. I mean, obviously, it's always going to be, it depends. To get more out of your existing audience, that's awesome, because you don't have to reacquire them, you just have to retarget them, and you bring them back into the funnel from where they dropped out. That's just it. I remember talking to some marketers, it was like, well, we want to get them back to make a purchase. It's like others just want to get people back to get them in the consideration set even. So maybe there's something to be said about when I approach retargeting, because now we agree you can, with what mindset?
I would say but where it comes from, it's exactly like, okay, what drives profit, right? Do you want to get more money, right, from a user? And this is like always the point where you target. And you have like this, this one metric, right, which is usually CPA or ROAS, and that defines, okay, what's the lifetime value, and you just like target against it. This is where you come from, like the key goal, and then you go backwards, right, to understand the funnel, and then understand like the leading feeding metrics towards that funnel, and you can also run retargeting, re-engagement to get those parts better, right? And that all helps in driving the growth in terms of revenue. Yeah. So when we talk about retargeting and growth, it's driving more profits rather than revenue, I would say. Like it's always tied together. But obviously, because you are just like getting more out of one user, and that's like the key goal, what you're able to, what you try to achieve. That's what you have to or can look into.
So it's a very strategic point, and you see and work with so many companies. I mean, I know your case studies as well and read them. Maybe come with a interesting way of approaching this. Maybe, because success belongs to those people who are going to do it a little bit out of the box. Is there a standout example or a couple of thoughts, some conversation starters in what you're seeing from your case studies, working with your customers?
No, of course. Like I think the beauty of retargeting is actually you have more information of exactly the audience or users you want to retarget than others. And I think the best cases are always about, use this information, leverage it, use it as part of the journey. Like first, you can adjust the creatives, right? If you know, like, you haven't been here since a week or so, has been a new update since we last saw you, and those characters are new. For example, like in a game, for example, like which is much more engaging because like yes, I remember, and so on. And or you can also tie it to some coupon or like some things that people are getting back once they're coming back when they click there. So you can also just like put some benefit on it. So to just like show it that loyalty is relevant, is important, and incentivize them to do something like, if you play this level through, you get like 500 golds extra only for you, something. And you can, if you build like also those elements
so
with it,
just has to be part of the journey. Really.
Yeah, exactly. You can, and nowadays it's all like doable because it's also more common, more known, and it's in a comparably easy way to do so, right? To just like exactly what I said earlier, to get the users along the funnel, and just like playing around with those things, and that can work out pretty well. Yeah.
So actually, you can be very comfortable with it. You can do some experimentation. There's room to push the envelope. There's room for mistake. What are some mistakes that marketers maybe make that they could be, in your opinion, avoiding? Yeah,
I think the most what we are seeing is actually that you are rushing things maybe too fast, and also what we are seeing is like you have to be very strategic about it because it's it's exactly like I said. It's not as easy as I want to just like have more installs, more users. It's just like a number, you make them high. Obviously, the quality of it is important, but for us, you always have like the aspect of who do you want to retarget, why, and what do you want.
Because you can't do all of it.
Yeah, so and that's why like I think you have to have a good understanding and at least be going through that thought process, what you really want to achieve. Because like if you if you haven't thought that through and you are setting wrong expectations, then you have a lot of work because also all the setup and everything, it's a bit it needs some infrastructure or so, right? Set up the segments, look into those, and then retarget, and then good, you get a number out, and then maybe you don't know what that actually means for your business, if it helps or not.
Because are they really valuable?
Exactly. Do they fit? Is the strategy or just like only this sub-strategy inside retargeting, right? I'm targeting this segment, I'm targeting this segment. So you have to really have a good understanding of what to do with each user's.
And sometimes the win is incremental, as you pointed out yourself. It doesn't have to be necessarily...
you don't want to cannibalize.
Exactly.
The other efforts.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Looking for a couple.
But also
things.
for that one, like I think that's why incrementality we constant, like for most customers we run that also in parallel, just like to have that transparency layer on top of it. Is it really incremental, or is it just like you're getting the attributions for the organics? That's always like a topic you have, and you want to prove it, like kind of know it's really driving value. Yeah.
And also on top of that is it's sometimes not even necessarily the outcome. It's also testing the hypotheses. So I know a lot of people doing incrementality testing to just make certain that what they're going to be building into their strategy going forward, that they validate that. So it's not necessarily the wins, but it's the overall strategic direction and all of that. So many people are saying to themselves, I want to do this maybe for the first time. So put on and get into that perspective of doing this and saying, okay, what do I need to do? What's a checklist to go live the first time if I've never done retargeting before?
I think like from a technical perspective nowadays, you don't need actually much. If you do UA, actually, you have already everything set up. Yeah, it's most relevant is an MMP to have to run like kind of not blind, to have the events set up, right? For us, it's like with retargeting, it's much more important to look like at the relevant post install events, right? Registration, have they reached level 5, whatever, like all those metrics, because that helps us for understanding the funnel and also be better with segmentation or use those insights for segmentation. So this one, like this more technical aspect needs to be set up, but then it's like kind of, okay, good, you're good to go. It can just like help you leverage your marketing buys.
Well, you know, time with you flies, Pan. First of all, you know what you're talking about. You can always tell that consistently over these years. But another thing you've been doing consistently over these years is you've been like working out. We see that. Marathon, running, that's about stamina. That's about sticking to it. That's about discipline. And these are many of the things that marketers need to have if they're going to be approaching retargeting, coming back to it or doing it for the first time in a new, in a data-constrained environment, we'll call it that. Help me out with a couple of closing thoughts, analogies between what it takes to be a marathon winner, because you are. I think I have it here in my notes. It's actually pretty impressive. You don't just run, you win. What was it you did here?
That's the minimum. Everything what we did.
Well, no, but your sub 3-hour marathon, have you done it yet?
No, 3 hours, 3 minutes. I was injured last one, but we get there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, see, that's what I love about you. You will never give up. That will never happen. You'll be back at it. So, okay, draw from running marathons to marketing to keeping the energy, the discipline high for retargeting challenges ahead.
Yeah, I think so. From my learnings, and always have been very curious about it. It's always like so. You need the long run in order to sustain, to be successful, to look ahead, to be very strategic about like what's ahead and how do you overcome like all the obstacles. Marathon, I think like the big difference compared to all other runs is like this 30-kilometer line where your body doesn't have any energy anymore, and how do you just get the fuel in order to keep up the pace and get through it, right? And that's exactly what's happened, what you said with the apocalypse. Okay, there's the 30-kilometer mark. So, okay, what's going on? Like everything is changing. Will the business still be alive and so on? Do the marketing techniques still work out? And that is like constantly. You get those things all the time, and you have to be prepared for it. You have to train yourself. You have to have this resilience, like inside all your operations, and be prepared for like what's to come. That's also like, I think with the Sandbox, it's a bit easier because you can look always ahead, like what are they looking about, what are they talking about, what does it mean for my business. So it's also that one, like to be strategic and look ahead, and be then also very consistent and to be like to get the most out of it, right? And don't underestimate that you always have to do also interval runs, like fast runs, and keep up the pace to just get faster, which means like in this analogy, like, okay, if there are new trends, if you are like new things that pop up, test them out, right? Because like you don't want to miss out when your competitors and the whole industry is already ahead and have found like something that's working really well, and I would that helps you also just like to understand that you're not missing out, and also like tap really early on into strong potential channels or new products and so on. So that's maybe an analogy I could.
That's a lot to learn from, and that's exactly the challenge. But that's also about the stamina and the discipline, because retargeting, getting more out of your existing user base, people you've acquired, getting them back or reigniting dormant users, it's certainly a good use of effort. And it's also great having you take the time and share your lessons and keeps you going, Pan. You are a force, what can I say? If it's got to be about retargeting, it was a delight to just hear more about what's going on at Remerge. And I think I'll stop with just the thought. You offered it. You said you have any questions, you want to learn, all the rest of it. What's the best way, Pan?
So I'm, like you said already, I'm very approachable on LinkedIn. You see me
Indeed
over
you
there.
are, yes.
So that's the best channel. Or if you're a runner or cyclist also, on Strava, they're a very heavy user.
Oh, God,
and,
another one.
Those are the best channels, yeah.
You're on. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Peggy.
And thank you.